Hello friends, my name is Chetan Khandelwal, pursuing MTech in IT from Iips Davv, and this video is aimed to discuss the third internal paper of information security for year 2023, and this video is made under the guidance of Shaligram Prajapati sir. Um, so there are three parts in the third internal paper. That first is for authentication chapter, second is for trusted computing chapter, and third is for slide channel attack. Now let us discuss the first question of the assignment. So in first question is how can multi-factor authentication method increase the security of authentication compared to the single factor method. So multi-factor authentication is security mechanism that require user to provide more than one form of authentication to gain access to a system or data. That it simply means that if a user want to access information of a information system, then he has to pass some authentication features and more than one authentication features for accessing the data. It can be biometric authentication, password based, token based, or any other authentication method. So the multi-factor authentication method include biometrics can help several common security problem include. So later, if we are using a multi-factor authentication that include a password-based authentication and biometric authentication combination in a combined way, then it can mitigate several security problems that may include password-based attack. That password-based, which means that password are often the weakest link in authentication system, as they can be easily guessed or stolen by any unauthorized user. And second problem is that is mitigated by the biometric authentication is social engineering attack. Social engineering attack involve tricking user into revealing their password or other authentication credential by using some any communication link and making burgling the user. And third is the phishing attack. Phishing attack involve tricking users into clicking on malicious link or downloading malware. This simply made for getting the credential of a user and other personal information. Third is account takeover. Account takeover attack involve an attacker gaining account access of a user's account and using it for malicious purpose. So biometric authentication can provide several benefits over multi-factor authentication methods and such as increased convenience and improved security. Biometric identifier are unique to each individual and cannot be easily duplicated or shared. So, as user do not need to remember and enter complex password to carry additional authentication device, biometric authentication is maybe the best, may not be the best authentication method or model, but in combination to other security models, biometric authentication provides more secure environment for securing the information system. Second question is what are the some advantage and disadvantage of using biometric and authentication for authentication compared to other methods such as password or smart card. So let us discuss the advantage of using first advantage of using biometric for authentication. So first advantage is strong authentication mechanism. So biometric provide a high level of assurance in authenticating individual because they are based on unique psychology or behavioral characteristics such as fingerprint, iris scan, voice, and facial recognition. And second advantage is convenience, as biometric authentication eliminates the need for user to remember and manage password or carry any physical or token identity. So it is convenient for every user and non-transferable, as biometric are unique to every each and every user. So they are not transferable to from one user to another user, and resistance to brute force attack means a password as brute force attack is used by attacker to guess or to guess the password by applying regular and constantly uh, several pins over a information system to access the data, and this is not possible in biometric authentication method. So let us discuss the some disadvantages of biometric in authentication. So first disadvantage is privacy concern, as biometric data being unique and personal raise privacy concerns for individual. Storing and managing biometric information require robust security to protect against unauthorized access and potential misuse. Non-recoverable, revocable. Unlike password or smart card, biometric traits cannot be easily changed if compromised, and system complexity and cost, and biometric authentication system require specialized hardware and software infrastructure to and are is very costly. And third and fourth disadvantage of using biometric authentication system is that it may be encounter false acceptance or false rejection. And fifth and last disadvantage of this biometric authentication may be factors such as injuring and any accident can change the biometric of an individual user, and the user may not be capable of accessing the system better. This is the main disadvantage of using biometric authentication. Third question is, how do authentication methods such as public key cryptography protect against attacks such as man in the middle and reply attack? So first let us check out that what is man in the middle and reply attack. So man in the middle attack is nothing but an unauthorized user keep in the middle, control and manipulate the information that is sent between the user and receiver. And authentication methods such as public key cryptography help protect against man-in-the-man middle attack in such a way that it provide encryption mechanism as both the party can communicate with each other by only the cipher text is transferred between them, and can only be readable to only both the parties. Data digital signature can be used to provide authorization and authenticity of a system. Certificate authorities is used for the authorization mechanism. Timestamp and nonsense are used for for the authentication purpose, and session key is a public key cryptography can establish session key or temporary encryption keys for secure communication between parties. And the last is security protocol, and secure communication protocols such as TLS and SSH incorporate mechanism to prevent replay attack. Fourth question is, in what ways can biometric authentication method be vulnerable to attack such as spoofing or replay attack, and what are the measures can be taken to mitigate this risk? So, in spoofing attack, the an unauthorized user or attacker may spoof fingerprint, iris, voice, and spoof biometric of an user, and in replay attack replay attack, an attacker can use live detection mechanism and response mechanism and time-based validity or cryptographic technique to access the information of an information system, and to perform their malicious tasks. And it is important to note that no authentication method is completely foolproof, including biometric. Implementing a multi-factor authentication approach, combining biometric with other authentication factor like password or token, can further enhance security and mitigate the risk associated with biometric vulnerability. Regular monitoring, updating system with the latest anti-spoofing techniques, and staying information about emerging biometric security advancement are crucial for maintaining the effectiveness of biometric authentication. Fifth question is, how do an authentication protocol such as open authorization and SAML work, and what are the strengths and weaknesses compared to authentication method. So, open authorization is an open standard protocol that allow user to grant third-party application limited access to their protected resource without sharing their credential. And the user authorization, the open authentication mechanism involve user authorization. First step of open authorization is user authorization. The user initiates the authentication process by accessing a service provider's application that require access to protected resources. Second step is authorized request. The service provider redirect the user to open authorization server where the user is prompted to authenticate and authorize the application's access to their resources. For this step, access token request upon authorization, the authorization server issue an access token to application which can be used to access the user's protected resource to on the service provider servers. And fourth and last step is accessing resource. The application uses the access token to make authorized request to the service provider server and retrieve the request to sources. So the strength of open authorization is it is convenient to use, and it provides limited access to the sensitive data, and is scalable to use by the user. Some of the weaknesses of this open authorization protocol is trust dependency, as user cannot be in trustworthiness or authorization server, and token management. The user must have to manage a token and access the data, and is provide only the limited scope. Now we continue for the SAML security assertion markup language is an XML based authentication and authorization protocol used for single sign-on between multiple use systems. Basically, the single sign-on is an authentication process that authorize a user for the entire database on the basis of single authentication process. The steps involve user access service provider. The user attempt to access the service or application provided by the SP service provider, and the second step involve the request for the authentication of the user. Third step involve the user authentication with the IDP, which generate a SAML assertion containing authentication information. And the fourth step involves assertion backup to SP, and fifth step involve the granting access mechanism to the user. Some of the strength and weakness of a SAML are it provides a single sign-on mechanism, and provides federation support and centralized control. And some of the weakness of the system are it is complex to implement, involve trust dependencies, and protocol override may include in this protocol. Second, the second part of the question paper was on the subtopic sub trusted computing. So first question is, what are the potential drawback on relying hardware-based trusted computing such as TPM and secure memory. So basically, hardware-trusted computing is a secure enclave, often enhance the security of for various applications, but they do have come with potential drawbacks. Some of the potential drawbacks that is to be considered are as follow: that it provide a limited adoption, so solution may not be widely adopted or supported across all the device and platform. Second, it is very complex to implement hardware-based trusted computing, and it is quite costly. And vendor dependency, hardware-based solution often rely on the specific vendor or mechanism manufacturer. Third drawback is maintenance and compatibility. Hardware-based solution may require ongoing maintenance and firmware update to address vulnerability and ensure compatibility with the software and operating system updates. And the fifth drawback is limited protection scope. While hardware solutions provide strong security for the specific hardware to or include they are designed for, they may not protect against all type of attack or address. And the performance overhead was also included in the hardware based on trusted computing. It is vulnerable and can be exploited by an unauthorized user, and it may involve some privacy concern also. Second question is, how can trusted computing technology uh, such as secure boot and such as secure boot code signing uh, be used to prevent malware and other attacks on computer systems. So, trusted computing technologies such as secure boot and code signing play a crucial role in preventing malware and other attacks on computer systems. Uh, Secure boot is a mechanism that ensures that only trusted software is executing during the system boot process. And here is how it prevents a attacker from accessing the information system. It boot chain verification. During boot, the system firmware checks the digital signature of the boot holder, and this process continues through each subsequent stage of the boot process, ensuring that only authorized and unmodified code is executed. Second is protection against rootkit and bootkit. So secure boot protects against rootkit and bootkit that attempt to compromise the boot process and prevent from the unauthorized and malicious tasks to be performed on the information system. Prevention of code injection. Secure boot prevents unauthorized code injection during the boot process, ensuring that only trusted and authenticated software is loaded into memory. Another is code signing. Code signing involves digitally signing software or executable with a cryptographic signature. This signature is generated using a private key and can be verified using the corresponding public key. Here's how it enhance security. So authentication and it provides authentication and integrity verification. Code signing enables the recipient to verify the authenticity and integrity of the software. If the signature is valid, it indicates that the code has not been tampered with the originated from the trusted source. Protection against malicious modification. The signature verification will fail, then indicating that the code may be compromised, and code signing will uh, delegate the code from executing on the system. And trust in third-party software. Code signing allow user to trust third-party software or library by verifying the signature against a trusted source. This helps preventing the execution of the malicious or unauthorized software components. So, by implementing secure boot and code signing techniques, an organization can enhance the security of computer system by ensuring that only trusted and authenticated software is executed. And third part of the test was side channel attack, based on side channel attack. And the question is, how can side channel attack can be used to extract information from systems that are designed to secure, such as encrypted communication or hardware security mode. So let us first discuss that what is side channel attack. So side channel attack is a channel that is unintentionally created by a system or device which can be used to extract information from the system or device by an unauthorized user or any cyber attacker. So side channel attack exploits this channel. Cyber attacker exploits this channel to extract sensitive information such as encryption key from the system, and there are several side channels um, that may include power side channel that uses power consumption, that you uses to access. data by analyzing the power consumption used for encryption of the data. Time side channel is used for by analyzing the time that is taken for extracting used for extracting information by analyzing the time taken for encryption in process. Acoustic side channel is used to exploit the data by listening the sound that is produced in the encryption process. Electromagnetic side channel is used to extract information by analyzing the radiation emitted by the device during the encryption process. The method for encoding information on side channel attack that can prevent from a side channel attacker maybe include spread spectrum technique that involves the spreading the bandwidth of a signal so that an authorized user cannot be understand this encrypted data. Second technique is masking technique. Masking technique is involved adding a noise to the signal to make it more difficult to extract information from that signal. Third technique may include modulation technique. This may be of three type: amplitude, frequency, and code modulation technique, and it is used to modulate signal that involve modulation to signal to encode the information. The fourth technique may include error correction code. Error correction code involves adding redundant information to the signal to enable the receiver to correct an error caused by noise to interference. In summary, side channel can exploit by attacker to extract sensitive information from the system or device. Method of encoding information on side channel can include spread spectrum technique, masking, modulation, and error correction system. Second question was, how can countermeasures such as power analysis, resistance design, or randomization can be used to mitigate side channel attack and power? What are the trade-offs between them? As we have already discussed about the countermeasures that can be used to mitigate side channel attack, so we will directly discuss the trade-offs that are involved in a side channel attack. So first is performance. That is, side channel protection measure can affect the performance of a system by adding processing overhead or reducing the speed of certain operation. Second is complexity. Side channel protection measure can increase the complexity of the system by adding component or requiring more sophisticated software algorithm. Third is cost. That side channel protection measure can increase the cost of a system by requiring additional hardware or software components. And the fourth and last trade-off is usability. Side channel protection measure can also affect the usability of system by making it more difficult to use or by adding additional steps to the user interface. For example, biometric authentication system that require user to perform certain action position may be less convenient than password-based system. So here we have all discussed all the questions that was asked in the third internal of information security for 8th sem, and thank you so much for watching this video, and you can also access this PDF in the link given in the description below. So thank you so much for watching this video.